The status of Visual Basic in 2025. Visual Basic, VB, once a dominant force in desktop software development, especially during the 1990s and early 2000s, has undergone a profound transformation over the past 2 decades. Created by Microsoft, Visual Basic provided an intuitive graphical interface for programming Windows applications and was renowned for its ease of use and rapid application development features. Today, in 2025, Visual Basic's role has transitioned from a widely adopted development language to a largely legacy technology, characterized by limited active development and a steadily declining user base. Historical context and evolution. Visual Basic was introduced in 1991 as a part of Microsoft's strategy to simplify the development of Windows applications. At a time when Windows programming was complex and heavily reliant on low-level APIs, VB offered a visual interface and an event-driven programming model that allowed developers to build functional user interfaces with minimal effort. It enabled hobbyists, small businesses, and professional developers alike to produce software that could run on Microsoft's increasingly dominant Windows operating system. The initial versions of Visual Basic, particularly VB3 through VB6, achieved immense popularity due to their combination of simplicity and power. Developers could drag and drop components onto forms, write code in a straightforward syntax, and quickly develop working applications. The language gained widespread use in business environments for creating internal tools and line-of-business applications. The release of Visual Basic.NET, VBNet, in 2002 marked a significant shift. As part of the broader .NET framework, VBNet introduced object-oriented programming features and greater integration with the evolving Microsoft ecosystem. While it modernized the language, this shift also alienated many longtime VB developers who found the new model more complex and less aligned with the principles that had made VB popular in the first place. Despite Microsoft's continued support for VBNet within the .NET ecosystem, it gradually lost ground to C#, which emerged as the preferred language for .NET development. C# offered a more concise syntax, better support in new frameworks, and wider community adoption, which led to a gradual but undeniable decline in the prominence of Visual Basic. Current development and support. As of 2025, Visual Basic is still supported within Microsoft's .NET ecosystem, particularly in versions such as .NET 7 and .NET 8. However, Microsoft has made it clear that the language is considered feature complete. This designation, made official in 2020, means that while Visual Basic will continue to receive maintenance updates, such as security patches and platform compatibility fixes, no new language features will be introduced. Visual Studio, Microsoft's flagship integrated development environment, IDE, continues to offer support for VBNet projects. Developers can still write, debug, and deploy Visual Basic applications, particularly those that rely on Windows Forms or WPF, Windows Presentation Foundation. However, many of the newest features introduced in .NET, such as advanced asynchronous programming constructs, minimal APIs, and cloud-native application development tools, are either unavailable or poorly supported in Visual Basic. This divergence in support underscores Microsoft's strategic direction. While maintaining compatibility for existing VB applications, the company encourages new development efforts to be undertaken using C# or other more modern programming languages. Usage and legacy. Despite its declining status, Visual Basic remains in active use in numerous organizations, particularly those with long-standing internal applications developed in VB6 or early versions of VBNet. These legacy systems are often mission-critical and embedded deeply into business operations. Rewriting them in a modern language is often cost-prohibitive and risky, leading many organizations to continue supporting and maintaining their existing VB codebases. Moreover, Visual Basic for Applications, VBA, a separate but related language, retains significant popularity within the Microsoft Office ecosystem. VBA enables users to automate tasks, create custom functions, and build interactive tools in applications such as Excel, Word, and Access. This capability is especially valuable to professionals in finance, data analysis, and administration, who may lack formal programming training but still need to perform complex tasks efficiently. While VBA is technically distinct from VBNet, its similar syntax and purpose have contributed to the overall perception of Visual Basic as a useful tool for non-professional programmers. However, even VBA's future is uncertain, with Microsoft increasingly promoting alternatives such as Office Scripts and Power Automate for automation tasks within the Microsoft 365 environment. The developer community and trends. The Visual Basic developer community has experienced a sharp contraction over the last decade. Forums, blogs, and community-driven websites that once buzzed with VB activity have either closed or shifted focus to more contemporary languages. Stack Overflow, GitHub, and other major development platforms show significantly lower levels of activity for Visual Basic compared to C#, Python, JavaScript, and other modern languages. Educational institutions have largely abandoned Visual Basic in favor of languages that are more relevant to current industry needs. Computer science curricula now typically focus on Python, Java, C#, or JavaScript, reflecting the language's widespread use in software engineering, data science, web development, and artificial intelligence. As a result, new developers are unlikely to encounter Visual Basic unless they enter a role involving the maintenance of legacy systems. Open source projects are also seldom written in Visual Basic. The language lacks modern language features, and many popular libraries and frameworks offer limited or no support for VB. Consequently, Visual Basic is not an attractive choice for developers looking to contribute to or build upon the vast ecosystem of open source software. Visual Basic in industry, case studies and perspectives. There remain niche areas where Visual Basic is still used effectively. In some sectors such as manufacturing, logistics, and government, legacy applications written in VB6 or VBNet continue to fulfill operational needs. These systems are often robust and reliable, and their long service life is a testament to the stability of the platforms on which they were built. In these environments, Visual Basic developers play a critical role in maintaining and extending existing systems. However, the talent pool for such roles is diminishing, as experienced VB developers retire and fewer new developers acquire the necessary skills. This dynamic has led to a unique situation where demand for VB expertise persists, but the supply of qualified professionals is shrinking. Consultancy firms specializing in legacy software support have found a niche in helping organizations modernize their Visual Basic applications. This often involves incremental migration to C# or the introduction of web interfaces over existing VB backends. In some cases, organizations choose to retain their VB systems while gradually replacing modules with modern equivalents. Microsoft's strategic direction. Microsoft's approach to Visual Basic reflects a balancing act between preserving legacy compatibility and promoting innovation. While the company has not formally deprecated VBNet, its feature-complete status signals a clear intention not to invest in its future growth. Instead, Microsoft continues to invest heavily in C#, F#, and new development paradigms such as low-code / no-code platforms like Power Apps. These tools aim to democratize software development without relying on aging technologies. Power Platform, for example, provides non-developers with the ability to create business applications using visual interfaces and pre-built components, addressing many of the same use cases that once made Visual Basic popular. Furthermore, Microsoft's embrace of cross-platform development through .NET MAUI, Multi-Platform App UI, and Blazor has further marginalized Visual Basic, which is not fully supported in these frameworks. Developers aiming to build for multiple platforms, Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS, are encouraged to use C# or JavaScript-based tools. Conclusion: a language in twilight. In 2025, Visual Basic stands as a venerable but largely dormant language. Its contributions to the democratization of software development and the proliferation of Windows applications are undeniable. Visual Basic empowered a generation of developers and played a crucial role in the personal computing revolution. Yet its role in modern software development is minimal. With no new features on the horizon, limited support for emerging technologies, and a declining developer base, Visual Basic has transitioned into the realm of legacy maintenance. Organizations that rely on it must grapple with the challenges of supporting aging codebases in a fast-moving technological landscape. For new development, the industry consensus is clear: developers are turning to more modern, flexible, and future-ready languages. While Visual Basic will continue to exist as long as legacy systems remain in use, its era of prominence has passed. It now serves as a reminder of how far software development has come, and how much further it can go.